Welcome back to another installment of the Mind Gains podcast. My name is Jay. I'm here with co-host
Vinny.
And today we have a very important topic today. We're going to drop massive value. We've been going, offering value. We've been going over our personal experiences so you guys know a little bit more about us. And one video that we got really good feedback on was how to get your first 5 clients.
Yeah,
so
it's our biggest video to this date.
Absolutely. So we're going to revisit that and just drop massive amounts of value today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to sell anything to anybody. And I think this is super important, specifically for anybody that's starting out in business. It's a huge skill to learn young. That's something that we did emphasize. I emphasized was one of the most important skills. Learn sales early. That way you can sell anything to anybody. And today, we're going to get a little bit into the nitty gritty, our experiences with sales, what we think about sales, how we do sales, all that good stuff. But first things first, we need to know what sales is. And so we'll start off with that. I'll kind of have Vinny give his definition, and then I'll kind of type back into that to see what my definition is.
Well, first things first, you guys are going to get 2, not different perspectives, but different systems because you have a more high-ticket business. Right now, my main source of income is a lower-ticket, recurring type of business with selling meal preps, and you sell wedding cakes. Everyone should know by now.
A little bit more higher ticket.
So, yeah, you're going to get the perspective of both worlds here, also from my previous experience as a personal trainer. But sales is psychology. Sales is a game. Most important thing when you're learning to do sales is that you're trying to sell the outcome, not the process. Like as a personal trainer, if you're a lead of mine and I tell you, oh, we're going to work out 3 times a week for 6 weeks, I'm going to charge you $300. You're going to tell me to fuck off,
right? I don't want to work out.
Yeah. If I'm a barber and you tell me, hey, come sit in my chair for an hour while I blade your head up with clippers, like that sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But why do people go to barbers? Because you look and feel great after. Why do people go to personal trainers? Because you could lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. You need to sell the outcome to people, not the journey. And of course, the journey is part of the process. But the main source of your advertising and the biggest point of the sale as a trainer needs to be, hey, I can help you lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. How are you going to feel after that? You're going to look good. You're going to feel great. You're going to be more confident. You're going to be more attractive to your spouse. You know, your friends are going to compliment you. You have to sell people
the outcome.
Pros, yeah,
absolutely.
The outcome.
Yeah, and I'll tie right into that. So even in the cake industry, you know, you're not selling, the cake because you're not saying, oh yeah, well, I'm going to be selling you the eggs, the batter. No, you're not going to say that to your client because they'll be like, bro, what are you talking about? No, you're saying this is going to be the best wedding cake you've ever had and hopefully the only one. Yeah. You know, I always throw that joke in there for a lot of my clients and they love it, Oh yeah, it'll be the only one. Yeah, no, absolutely. So this is going to be the only time you're ever going to get married. You want to make sure that you have a good impression. Now, for me, since I'm more in the does it taste good industry, a lot of the times that's what I'm selling the outcome of the guest, right? Yeah. So in this case, it would be like, yeah, the cake is the last thing your guests are going to have. You know, you don't want them to go home with a bittersweet taste, right? Like the whole event was great and the cake was meh. It wasn't that great. You know, you don't want that experience. You want the best experience overall for your guest, and this cake is going to do that for them. Where do I book? How do I sign up?
Yeah.
Here's my money. Yeah, but to give you a more simple definition of what I believe sales is just problem solving. It's solving a problem, and it is selling an outcome. But I also believe that sales is everywhere. You know, you see it in dating. Like you said, it's a psychology game. Yeah. You see it in dating. You see it at the grocery store. You see it personal training. You see it in any industry that you're in. You're always selling something. And I think that's super important to understand when you're first starting out. That way you can view life when you walk around, everything is sales. My first question is going to be, what makes a bad sales rep or bad salesperson? Have you come across that?
Yeah, most salespeople that I come across. I mean, when I first got into the sales industry, because pretty much every business requires sales. Me personally, like as a trainer, I try to brush it off as long as I could, but there comes to a point where you're going to have to strengthen your sales skills or else you're not going to grow. So everyone that's avoiding putting in the work to become a better salesman, to learn psychology, to learn sales tactics, put in the work because it's going to grow your business substantially. But back to the point, when I think of how to be a good salesman, I think of what I encounter when a salesman completely turns me away from them, and that's being annoying, We're going to get into this later, but cold calling is something that should absolutely not be a thing in 2026, and it still happens very often. I still see people promoting it on the internet very often. But when's the last time you picked up a cold call? Oh, would you like to install solar panels on your home? Fuck you. Don't ever call me again. Take me off the list, right?
Yeah.
So I just think about stuff like that. Like, I don't know. What would you say makes a bad salesman?
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, what would prevent you from selling a product, right?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of, I wouldn't say shows, but I've seen interviews or events where people will ask the audience, oh, sell me this pen. Oh, it's a great pen. It's a black pen.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's just like they're not really solving a problem.
Yeah.
So for me, a good salesperson is solving a problem. So bad, obviously, would be someone that isn't solving a problem.
True.
Right? They're just trying to sell you something. Oh yeah, you should buy this pen. Why should I buy this pen? Well, it's a nice pen. You need a pen, right?
No.
Do I need? I don't need a pen. I
Yeah.
have pens at home. Yeah, but this pen is better than those pens.
It's like if someone
Okay.
asks you what makes your company stand out from all your competitors, and then someone will say something generic like, "Oh, we do the best job, we have the best prices."
Exactly.
Like every jackass is saying that.
Everyone
like,
is saying that.
What genuinely makes you better than your competitors?
What is your unique value proposition? What are you offering that no one else offers? And that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. As a business owner, you should know what that is.
Absolutely.
You should know what your unique value proposition is, what makes you stand out from the rest. And if you're not able to answer that in a few sentences, in a
You're
few
not going to
words,
stand out from the rest.
then you're not standing out from the rest, and you're probably not making as many sales as you think you should, or that you should be making. But to answer the question, any bad sales rep isn't going to do very well in sales, okay? And that's pretty evident because I think sales is very spiritual, and I know it's a crazy term, but if you are not aligned, bro, you are not gonna make any sales, bro. Because sales is a spiritual game, bro. And I've noticed that a lot of the time for people that don't do good or don't do well are the people that don't study, or the people that never read the book, or the people that never study their audience. So anything that's opposite to that would make a bad person, like a bad sales rep. So if you don't study, if you don't constantly learn new tactics, if you don't have someone, not necessarily necessary, but if you don't have someone there that you can say, you know what, give me feedback on my sales experience.
Yeah.
That's, if you're never getting like experience or feedback, that's also not good.
I think it's always important to record your sales calls if you can.
Yeah.
It's very important to look back and analyze your performance. It's like playing a sport. If you don't go back and watch your film, you're not going to get better. So
Exactly.
Same thing goes with sales. You have to look back and say, what could I have done here differently to maybe trigger a different reaction to get closer to the point of sale. So yeah, studying film is very important.
Yeah, studying film. And I was also going to mention, like anything, for example, if you ask me the question, what makes a bad cook? Well, if they're burning the food, if they're not cooking all the way through. So it's like if they're not doing the work, if they're not studying, if they're not understanding the client, I think that's number one, bro. That makes a bad salesperson. If they don't understand who they're selling to, that's horrible.
Tying back to the point I made at the beginning, I think the most annoying thing for a sales rep for me is if they're annoying. Like, some people are just...
What does that look like to you? What does that mean, though?
Just too pushy, but with no valid explanation as to why we should get closer to that point of sale.
Like buy now.
Yeah. I mean, in the game of sales, of course, you need to create pressure. You need to create urgency, but you shouldn't just be like a pest to the client,
What is the balance for that? Because we talk about urgency. Urgency is important.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between urgency and being a pest?
I think it's just understanding, like putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Like, would you want someone calling you at 4 a.m. talking about good morning, Kanye?
That's totally okay.
I mean, that's an extreme example, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
You just need to put yourself in the position of the customers. And if I wouldn't want to be bothered to this extent, I'm probably not going to do that to someone else,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, if you genuinely have value you could offer them. I like your method of following up because when someone's not giving you a response right away, instead of saying, hey, are you still interested? Or, hey, you should buy this. You'll send them testimonials. You'll send them photos of work that you've already done. Like, you're offering them value. You're not just trying to demand an answer out of them. You're just trying to warm them up to the point of the sale.
And that's super important too. Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up because that's the difference between a good and a bad salesperson. Mm-hmm. A bad salesperson is going to hit you with, hey, are you ready to buy?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I have the contract ready for you.
Hey, just following up.
hey, just that's horrible. Just falling up.
Yeah.
Horrible. No, that's gross.
Terrible.
Yeah, don't ever use that. That's fucking terrible. If you need an alternative, I'll drop a bomb for you right now. So instead of saying, hey, just following up, lead with, what do you think we should go from here? So change that language, okay?
Yeah.
It puts the power in the customer's position without you losing authority as well. But saying, hey, just following up makes you sound like you make absolutely 0 sales in a day and you have 0 clients.
Yeah.
So don't do that. But to go back to your point, yeah, when you offer value, constant value. So a perfect example of that is if a client hasn't responded to me, let's say in a day or two, I'm gonna send them over a testimonial. Hey, this is what our client Norma is saying about our work. This cake was actually done on this date, and they absolutely loved it. I would love to share that with you, and would love to make the same thing happen for your big day. And usually they'll respond with positive feedback because there's nothing negative you can say about that.
Yeah,
you can't be like, oh,
product's
stop
genuinely good.
stop sending me 5-star reviews. No one's
Yeah.
gonna say that. They're gonna be like, oh, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing. And if anything, they're gonna go look at the other reviews.
Yeah.
Something that I've also noticed that I'd like to drop here is now that I have been posting more of my reviews, because I have been doing this more on my social media. They've always been there, but I haven't been as consistent with posting the reviews on my page. Now that I have prior clients. I have prior clients that we have worked with saying, hey, where can I leave my review? Or hey, this reminds me of my cake. How can I leave my feedback? Bro, that's perfect, right? Because they look at the post and, well, for one, they want to be posted on the story, right? You have a page that's 2.5K followers. They want the clout a little bit. But at the same time, they also want to tell the other people their experience.
Yeah.
And that's good for you as a business owner.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, just to go back, it's important to not be a pest. That's super good. But it's also important to follow up structurally.
Yeah, another thing I can add to that is that a bad salesman sounds desperate. A good salesman sounds confident and almost comes off as they don't need your money. Yeah. Even though as a salesman you might need the money in that situation, but coming off as, hey, I don't need your money, genuinely want to help you, you know, that's very important.
That's
rather than
true.
Coming off as desperate, like, hey, just give me your money, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, because I've even met some sales reps where, like, they'll be such a pest, right? They'll be such a pest, and then the buyer ends up giving them their money, and then after that it's like ghost town.
Yeah.
They don't, oh, can I please get a receipt? Like 8 hours later, oh yeah, I'll send you the receipt right now. Like, bro, if you're gonna be a pest, at least be a pest after they send you the money, bro. Something I also want to add here that I've noticed specifically for sales is once you've already closed your client, right? Once the client is already on your calendar, once the client has already committed to the agreement that you both have, this is where you can send them everything. Because at this point, it's like you're not trying to sell them anymore. They already committed to you. Yeah. So the more information that you give them at this point is only going to be beneficial, because now they're seeing the amount of value that from point A, right, to point B, which point B being the close, to point C, the amount of value that changed was dramatic.
Yeah.
Right. So something that I learned from my first sales position was once we had a client book on our calendar, we would send them everything. Pre-shoots, we would send them information links, we would send them dress, we would send them like anything that would be beneficial to their planning and making their life easier. We would send that. We would have a list of vendors that we would just send over, and that was only after the point of sale has already been crossed.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. I think that's what makes a good salesperson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think it's important when you're in the sales process to never just go on rants or information bombs.
Yeah.
The only time I will do that is when I'm doing like a personal training consultation and the client like actually asks what the program looks like, how it works, and I'll be like, okay, we have an app. Your workouts are in the app. Like I'll give them a full rundown of how it works. But that's not the selling point, because the client's coming to me because they want to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, not because they want an app with workouts in it. And,
True.
Yeah, I mean, that of course, that's what's going to get them there. But, that sounds lame if that's what you go around promoting, So I think it's very important to essentially get the buyer to convince themselves that they should buy, rather than you just saying a bunch of stuff trying to convince them, if that makes sense. It's a lot of questions. You should be asking more questions than you are just talking about your product and your service, because the goal is to understand the buyer. And
100%.
The buyer should be answering their own questions, convincing themselves that this is something that they need.
Yeah, and
then again, this goes back to not being a desperate salesman, to being a confident salesman, because your product should sell itself eventually if it can actually solve this customer's problem.
That's a great point that you're bringing up as well. How do you further understand your buyer? Because I think that's super important in sales.
Yeah.
You understand what is sales, right? But how do you understand who you're selling to?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like to you in your processes and your experience?
What do you mean? Like each client individually or just the market as a whole?
Just understanding who you're selling to, right? So demographics could be important, right?
Yeah.
Understanding what it is that they're looking for, what problem are they solving?
Yeah, so
yeah. How important is that?
It's very important. Like with personal training, I'm selling mostly overweight, insecure people, and not that I'm gonna like prey on them for that and make that the point of the sale, but I know that these people might not be confident with how they look. They want to make a change. So of course, during the sales process, we're gonna get them to tap into those emotions, like, how does it feel? How do you feel right now? Obviously not good, not healthy, sluggish, slow, fatigued, depressed. And then how would you look if we reach this goal of the 20 pounds in 6 weeks or whatever that goal might be? Happy, confident. They have to envision themselves already at the finish line, and that's going to be a huge point in getting them from point A to point B to make that sale.
And even from then, after you do just get the sale, I think that's a massive motivator too, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, John, you told me that by the end of these 6 weeks you wanted to be X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the work we're putting in right now reflects that?
Mm.
And it's like, oh shoot.
Yeah, you could always
use that as motivation.
Point, yeah.
That's good, and that's fantastic. And I think that ties into understanding your buyer too.
Absolutely.
Because when you understand your buyer from the beginning, now through the entire process, you know exactly what the end goal is, and what you need to do and steer people, navigate them towards that finish line.
Yeah, no, it's always important to identify the pain point of your prospect, and every market has a pain point. Like even if you're going to buy something stupid like a lawnmower, it's like, oh, I don't want my grass looking like the Amazon rainforest. Like there's a pain point for everything. It might not be as emotional as I'm overweight and insecure about that, but if you're a barber or a hairstylist, though, I don't want to look like a slob up here,
Yeah, I want to look presentable.
So whatever your business is, just
understand the problem.
Understand the pain point that your prospects are going through, and then attack that in the sales process.
I'm gonna ask you a fun question.
Yeah.
I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you, what do you think the pain point is in the wedding cake industry?
Well, just not having a disaster of a wedding is what I would say. I mean, nobody wants their guests leaving unsatisfied. Nobody wants all this planning to go into a wedding and then people leave and they're just talking shit about the event. So
okay.
I would say it's more of a fear than a pain point, but also planning a wedding is stressful. So for the
100%.
prospects, you want to make that as easy as possible for them.
100%.
Like, we're handling this cake for you. You don't even have to think. Yeah. So I would say that's your pain point.
So that's one of them. I think there's a few, but one of them you just mentioned, which is the most important one, is like relieving stress, because like you said, weddings are extremely stressful, bro.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like it could get overwhelming if you don't know how to navigate or what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when you're like, hey, you have this big thing on your checkbox, it says wedding cake on it. I want to check that box for you and just have you not worry about it at all. What does that include? I'm going to take care of the delivery. I'm going to set it up for you. I'm going to give you the perfect design that we are going to personalize together. And after that, you just have to enjoy. So that's one of the pain points. The second pain point I've noticed is the taste of the cake.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I've been to different wedding cake. I've been to different weddings, and the cake is just horrid. It tastes like absolute buns.
Okay.
Disgusting. I don't like it. And you know what? That's someone were to tell me, yeah, like the cake was bad. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's usually one of the most complaints that we get is usually the taste of the wedding cake, and that's exactly why we do these tastings. I like to sit down with my clients, do one-on-one, so you can actually see what we're about.
Yeah.
And that gives them confidence. So 2 problems that we're solving: 1, amounts of stress that we're taking off their plate, and 2, satisfying, like you said, the clients and also their guests. Because they want to go home satisfied that they got a good cake. And so far, so good, bro. So that's super important. Another thing that ties into understanding your buyer. Although end goals are important, starting. Why are you starting, right? Which is important too. Like the end goal is great,
absolutely,
but like you mentioned in the beginning, what are the structured starting points that you can add? For you, of course, it's like, hey, you're overweight. You want to be healthy for your family.
Yeah.
You want to be healthy for your kids, and this is not where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something you can add to that?
Yeah. Well, the first process of applying for my fitness coaching is actually filling out an application.
What does that look like?
Yeah, a few questions on the application are to get those people into that pain point mindset, like identifying those pain points, like, oh, what's the reason why you want to start now? What's your biggest motivator for building a healthy lifestyle? It could be your kids, a medical scare, etc. So before I even get on the phone with these people, we're already identifying those pain points. That way, when we eventually get on a Zoom call and try to move forward with the process, I already have a little taste of what this person's going through,
Sure.
and we could further break that down on the phone.
Yeah, and something that's also important is qualifying your leads,
Oh
which
yeah,
is a
absolutely.
perfect way that you just put it, filling out the forms. Is there any other way that you qualify people or potential buyers? What does that process look like for you qualifying your client? Because I think that falls right under understanding who you're selling to.
Yeah. Well, I don't really go out and hunt leads like
Yeah,
I
of
used
course.
to. When personal training was my main thing, then I guess I would go out and look for prospects. But now that I have meal prep, I have as many leads as I need right there just from meal prep
Oh yeah,
alone.
bro.
So yeah, I do have a specific type of people that I like to work with. I'm not gonna work with anyone that's like already a bodybuilder and is trying to compete for a show. Things that are just outside of my scope of practice. But one thing I also look for is commitment. Like I straight up asked in the application, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you going to be? On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with me holding you accountable during this journey? Because if someone's
Okay.
going to answer like a 3 or a 4, like they're not okay with me getting on them, then you probably shouldn't have a coach.
Yeah,
And then
that's the whole point of coaching.
as much as I wish I could help everyone, price qualifying is going to be a big thing too.
Okay.
So I have three, it's a multiple choice question. There's 3 answers, and it's, are you financially in a place where you can contribute to coaching? It's probably worded differently than that, but that's off the top of my head. And then the 3 options are, yes, I'm ready to invest. I'm interested, but depends on the price. Or the third one's, no, I'm not willing to invest. If I get the first 2, I can work with that. But if the person's just not willing to invest financially, it's not even about me not getting paid. It's just like, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, you're probably not going to be a committed client. Like if you're not willing to put money on the line to get the results that you want, how committed are you actually going to be to the program?
Probably not that committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually perfect. And I think that qualifying leads, not only financially, but just in overall, because you need to know the type of avatar that you're working. For example, like you said, you're not going to personally train someone that's already a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense. It's
absolutely.
like, what are you doing? What are you? First off, why are you even filling out this application?
Yeah, or if someone's like 600 pounds, I'm not going to put them through workouts right away. I'll probably give them a nutrition consultation. But it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't even do next level workouts yet. You should probably get your diet under control first, drop 100 pounds that way so we don't smoke your knees, and then we'll get into the gym, So
Slowly but surely.
yeah, so there's like, as much as I want to help everyone, like I said, there's certain types of clients I won't work with, and I do have my ideal client that I would happily love to work with. So.
Yeah, and something that's important is, like you said, qualifying the leads is super, super important financially, physically, whatever it is that you need specifically for fitness. But another thing that I've learned in sales is that you are not your client.
Yeah, true.
And you need to understand that, because sometimes like you'll look at it from a different perspective. For example, as much as I want to say, hey, you know what, I would pay anywhere from $800 to $1,200 for a wedding cake. I personally wouldn't. Why? Because I know the skill. I know the skill. I know how to do it. I could probably do it for a lot less.
Yeah.
I would never pay that, but that doesn't mean that I don't have clients that are willing to pay that, because A, they don't have the skill, B, they don't know what I know, and C, they're looking to take that stress off completely from their wedding date.
Yeah.
So that's something that I learned early, and I'm glad that I did, is that don't underestimate, because if you feel like you're like, oh, I feel like I'm charging too much, you are not your client.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I feel like I'm not charging enough, or, I feel like I'm charging too much, I don't feel like anybody's going to buy. You are not your client. You have to understand that. And when you understand that, you're able to further move along with your process in sales and understanding you're the buyer as well.
I think convenience is a big thing to sell on.
Convenience is huge.
Like what you just tied into, people wanting to take the stress off of their wedding, that's convenience.
That's convenience.
So yeah, if there's anything that you're struggling to identify your unique value proposition, convenience is always a good one to fall back on.
That's funny.
How can my product make this client's life easier? For us, when you tie it into meal prep. You know, you don't have to take the time to prep your lunch for work every day. You don't have to take the time to weigh your food, calculate the macros. It's already done for you. So we
all
solve
on
a
paper,
big
convenience.
We solve a big convenience problem in people's lives with that. And
Yeah.
I think that's why so many people trust us to handle their meal prep for them on a weekly basis.
And you make it affordable too, which
Yeah,
is awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, anybody can buy. So that's awesome too. Another thing is, if you, like you mentioned, selling off of convenience is super great, right?
Yeah.
Because you've seen it happen, I've seen it happen. I'm going to use this specific example because that's what came to mind right now. But it's like, hey, we're already at this store, but we need batteries. Should we go to a different store to buy
Convenience
batteries?
tax.
I'd rather just pay the convenience tax. The batteries are here. I'm just going to buy them. Even if it's $1, $2 more, who cares? They have them. I need them now. Let me buy them.
Oh, yeah.
Or like energy drinks too.
Yeah,
I did a whole video on that.
They're double the
Yeah.
price at the gym versus going to the liquor store. But if you're already at the gym, I'm not going to drive to the gas
I'm
station.
not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
So they already have that there. It's convenient for me. I'd rather pay the extra $2-3 of convenience to not go out my way to go to the store than to actually not, just buy it there. I'd rather just buy it there.
Yeah.
And that's another form of sales too. So selling off of convenience. If you're in the middle of the Sahara Desert and you're selling waters, they're probably going to sell a little bit more than if you're in the middle of the rainforest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so convenience and placement. Can we
Yeah.
talk about placement for a little bit?
Yeah, well, I like the Alex Hormozy thing that he did where he talked about how do you have the best hot dog stand. It's not having the best tasting hot dogs. It's not having the cheapest hot dogs. It's having a starving crowd.
Starving crowd.
So let's tie that into what you're about to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So placement is super important. If you are positioning yourself in a location that nobody walks through, then you're probably not
You're
going to
not
make
going
any
to sell any
sense.
hot dogs, even if you have the best.
Exactly. But for example, in my industry, if you're putting yourself in front of an expo, a wedding expo,
Yeah.
right? Now you're exposed to so many different people looking for wedding cakes, looking for that relief of stress for that big day.
Yeah.
So placement is super important, like you said.
It is.
And I think that's also important in understanding the buyer. Placement. Always position yourself in a position where you are going to get wet if it rains.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to I don't know if this is just a LA thing or if they do this everywhere, but have you ever been to like a sporting event or a concert in LA where as soon as you walk out of the venue, it's just hot dog stands everywhere?
Hot dogs, food, tacos.
Yeah, just people
everywhere.
with their little
The
grills,
stands.
just selling hot dogs because everything in the stadium's closed already. It's going to take you like an hour to get out of the stadium parking wise. So those people are making bank because if you just want something quick, $5, hot dog, cool, move on with your day.
Another thing which this does bug me a little bit, but that's just how they do it. Movie theaters do this all the time, right? They'll fleece you for your money.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Let me tell you, I went to a movie theater with my sister. She got a bag of M&Ms, she got a popcorn, and then she got a large drink, bro. And it was like $30.
That's insane.
And I was like, well, this is not convenient, I could have just got this anywhere, but they have specific rules where it's like you can't just bring any food in.
Yeah.
Right? So like sometimes it's like if you want a treat, you don't really have a choice. This is what is available.
Yeah, well, that's monopolizing. That's another topic we can get into.
Oh, we
because
can.
If you can monopolize something, then you're set. Like Apple, I think, is the best example of this on a global scale. Like you have to buy, like they used to use universal chargers, but now you have to use a specific charger that only works with Apple products. Why? So Apple can make more money off of chargers. They created their own headphone jack. You can't use a universal headphone jack anymore. You have to use the USB-C or whatever it is.
Or the transformers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, Apple knows how to monopolize things so they can make money off of stuff that isn't necessarily their product,
Yeah. And a lot of big corporations do that, but that's smart. Even though a lot of people would argue that it's unethical. It's not illegal. So, it is what it is. But sometimes, like, in order to be in the sales game, especially for these big corporations, they can get away with a lot of things. So
yeah, but I think there's smaller scales like the movie theater and even smaller than that where you can monopolize something. It's just finding a way to do it,
Just finding a way.
Like the gyms, this isn't necessarily monopolizing. It's probably a step down from this, but they'll purposely play atrocious music and then they sell headphones at the front desk.
Yeah, God, no headphones allowed on entry. There's like headphones at the.
That would be monopolizing if they said no headphones allowed.
Yeah.
But that's why I said it's a step down from monopolizing.
That's
but
perfect.
It is a sales tactic. Like we're gonna play freaking white girl pop dubstep
Abracadabra by Lady
remixes.
Gaga.
That way you get pissed off and come buy headphones.
That's a crazy monopoly, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane. But yeah, perfect.
So tying back into understanding your client, of course, we all deal with objections as salesmen. So how important is it to learn and understand how to handle objections? And what would you say are the most common objections that you get in your sales process?
Yeah, so to answer the first question, objections is something that you're going to get in any industry that you're in. It doesn't matter if you sell cars, cakes, food, meal prep, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You're always going to come across objections. Now, I have noticed that the lower the ticket, the less objections you come across, and the higher the ticket, the more objections you come across. Only because the commitment is a lot higher.
Yeah.
In my experience, if of course I would have to talk about the wedding industry specifically, is the most common objections I would say is, hey, I would need to talk to my wife, or I need to make sure that this is it tastes good, right? So the objections are definitely there for me as well.
Yeah.
Of course, I have a way to handle every objection. I don't think I'll go through every single one of them today, but one that I will go over is, I need to make sure that the cake tastes good before I commit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly why we offer cake tastings. And believe it or not, offering a cake tasting, even if it's a lot lower in ticket, gives you the opportunity to, one, have them taste your product, because then sometimes the product will sell itself. Two, meet the client one-on-one. And then three, handle any further objections that they have in person.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for them to sit there, taste the cake. They know the cake is good. They love the cake.
Yeah.
Right? And again, one of the questions that I laid out earlier in the beginning of the video was, once everything is done, I will let silence sit there. Like, I will not say anything. And if they don't break that silence, which usually they do, once they break the silence, I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. Where do you think we should go from here? I love that question. And I actually learned that from my first sales position, which was selling photo and video photography and videography from my back then. He was awesome. He taught me everything I knew about sales, and I respect him for that. So yeah, one of the questions that he taught me was, where do you think we should go from here? And that, bro, has closed so many different, because it leaves them with no room to go anywhere. It's not like I'm saying, hey, buy the cake now. I'm asking them what the best direction is to go from here. I'm giving them the power, when in reality I have it the whole time. So the usual response is, yeah, this is awesome, let's move forward. Or like, this is perfect, I think this is a good fit. Or like, yeah, let's do it. Usually that will be my response for that. But going back to objection handling, in any industry that you're in, you need to have a process for every objection that you get.
Yeah. Let me ask you this first. Do you think it's important to beforehand do everything you can to prevent objections from coming up, or you think it's just important to know how to handle each objection as they arise?
Yeah, so a good sales rep, a good salesperson is going to leave no room for questions, which is something that I have learned. And the way that I know that I'm doing a good job, one, is because at the end of the consultation, after they have closed, after that everything has been finalized, I ask them this question. Hey, I want to make sure everything is super crystal clear for you guys. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you guys think we should still go over to make sure we're on the same page? Why? Because this is going to give them the confidence that you know what you're doing. And two, it gives me feedback too. So if someone is to respond like, oh yeah, well, we didn't really talk over this. Okay, noted. Next time I'm going to talk about that. So that way we don't have that objection if it does come to fruition, right? So your goal is to answer all the questions, every single one, or as much as you can. Fill the gaps with information. So when it comes to the point of the selling process, now the objections are very minimal, right? Of course, there's sometimes that, some clients are not actually ready to buy, which is perfectly fine. But there's a balance there, because you mentioned this in the beginning of the video as well. You don't want to talk more than your prospect. You never want to do that. You want to ask the questions. You want to lead them by them answering their own questions to the right direction, right? So you're leading your prospect in the right direction by asking questions while still filling in those gaps with just enough information that answers the questions that could possibly pop up as objections in the end. That's how beautifully I can lay. That's exactly how I would lay it out, bro. But I'll ask you the same. Or do you want to ask me something else?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, when you go into like a cake tasting, are the clients completely aware that this is where the sale is going to happen, or do you kind of just lead them there throughout the cake tasting? Yeah,
so usually prior to the cake tasting, this is exactly what I will say. hey, the point of the cake tasting is to make sure that you absolutely love what we're about. After that, we want to make sure that if it's a good fit for the both of us, not just for you, not just for me, for the both of us, because we want to make sure you're a good fit for us, right? And when you frame it like that, now it kind of levels out the plane in terms of like who has the power, who has the authority, whatever. So when you lay it out like that, they know that the whole point of doing the cake tasting is to move forward with booking the date. But I also say it in writing, hey, after the cake tasting, if everything goes smooth and everything goes well, we want to make sure that we move forward in securing your date, to make sure that no one else. I work in scarcity, right? So it's like, hey, I have a lot of clients that are also looking for this date. So to me, it's important to note that, hey, we want to make sure that you love the cake so that we can move forward in the process so no one else books your date, right? And usually at the point of tasting the cake, they know what's going on. Like the whole point you do a consultation to begin with, to do a cake tasting, is because if it tastes good and you like it, you're going to move forward, right? I've had even some clients that have had multiple cake tastings lined up, right? Like, oh yeah, we have two, and they tell me usually in the beginning, hey, yeah, we have 2 more cake tastings that we have set up for this week. And most of the time, bro, they end up canceling those consultations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's fire.
Yeah, and I will also say that the faster you are at getting to those leads, the faster you are at responding to those messages, the faster and more likely it is that you close them before anybody else. But to answer your question, yes, at the point of the cake tasting, they know that it's going to be the process to saving their date. Right? That's the anchor to save the date.
And if you say you go through the cake tasting and they say, oh, well, the cake was great, we're just not ready to commit today, how would you go about that? Just let them be, or do you still try to create more pressure to get to that point?
At that point, if I say, hey, where do you go? Where do you think we should go from here? And they say, well, we love the cake, we love everything about. Usually they'll give me a reason. They'll either say like, yeah, we don't have the complete funds right now, which is very rare because I always qualify my leads prior to that. So if that doesn't happen, they're like, hey, we're just not ready to move forward. No, yeah, absolutely. My next following question is be like, when do you guys think we should touch base on this? Right? To get a kind of a glimpse of what time frame they're on. Right? And so if they give me something like, oh yeah, like in 2 weeks, at that point it's like, okay, it doesn't seem like there was something here that they didn't fully like.
Like they want to explore other options.
They want to explore other options, right? And sometimes, they're looking for fondant. There's nothing I can do about that, I sell whipped cream based cakes. If they're looking for fondant, it doesn't matter how good the cake is. I don't do fondant, so that's not what I'm looking for. But usually, that's very rare that I come across those, but I have come across those. So my timeline is, okay, when do you guys think we should touch base on this? If they say, well, I'm looking to touch base in the next 2 days. Perfect.
That's reasonable.
That's reasonable, okay? That's the only time I will walk away. If they say anything from 2 to 3 weeks, then I'll be like, all right, sounds good. If the date does change, I will move over to scarcity. It's like I do have another cake tasting lined up for this week for the same date. If they do end up moving forward, I'll let you guys know because availability is super huge with us. And I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing whoever comes first, right? So I'll let you guys know before that if you guys are ready to move forward. If not, then I'll let you know if availability changes. And most of the time, that'll do the trick too. Because they'll be like, well, we don't want to not save the date. It's just, they'll tell me, we don't have the proper funds right now. If that's the case, okay, well, what can we work with right now just so we can save the date, right? Oh, well, the deposit's a little too big for us. Okay, what if we broke the deposit into 2, right? So if we did like 25% commitment today and then 25 commitment the next week, that makes sense for us. Oh yeah, that would be way better. That would help us so much. Perfect, let's do it.
Done deal.
Done deal. So it really just depends on the scenario. But that's how I deal with it.
Okay.
Back when I was in the photo and video industry, that is a little bit different just because they actually need time to think, because it's not just like some people are not ready to commit, right? Because that's higher ticket. That's anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000, $8,000 packages. It's not like you're selling, a knitted sweater. You're selling higher ticket prices. And so when you have higher ticket, what you want to do is tie in a little bit of support to your offer. So like, hey, like if you save your date within 24 hours, this is what I'm gonna include for free, you know. So they can be, oh, I'm gonna give you a free portrait. I'm gonna give you an extra 100 free photos, whatever it is that you can tie on that is gonna be perceived as value to your client to better make a decision. That right in of itself is gonna help them even after the call. So for example, if you did want to send a link right after the call, you're like, I don't really want to do the whole process on the phone.
Yeah.
Hey, this is exactly what I'm gonna offer you. I'm gonna offer you a free consultation, a free meal plan. I'm gonna do a free one-on-one person, whatever the case is, anything that you can tie value to. That way they're more inclined to actually commit, even if it's not on the call.
Okay.
So that's something that's super important too, especially if you're doing a little bit more higher ticket, which I've noticed. I've learned.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that ties very smoothly into our next segment about how do you actually build a great offer that is so good that it's hard for prospects to say no to.
Yeah. What do we always say? This is from Hormozy, right? What does he say about offers?
Create an offer so good that people would feel stupid to say no.
And that's beautiful. That's beautifully structured. If you can come up with an offer, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
When it comes to offers, what you offer, do you think that you've dialed that down completely in both the fitness and the food meal prep?
Not necessarily. And I think with fitness, selling monthly coaching packages are a little more high ticket. Like with meal prep, it's kind of just the meals, but I still feel like there's more value or perceived value that I could tie to it.
Right.
Although it's working right now, but I think eventually to get to the next level, I'm going to have to tighten that up a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, the main point is, especially with fitness coaching, it's like the program includes multiple things, of course. So if you could actually show the prospect the value of all those things, it's like, hey, you're getting personalized one-on-one coaching, that's this value. You're getting personalized nutrition coaching, that's normally this value. You're getting these recipe books, you're getting this food list, you're getting this grocery list. And yeah, this is the monthly price. This is how much these things would cost individually. Does that kind of make sense? They're saving money.
Absolutely, yeah. and they are.
Yeah, they are
saving money,
essentially.
right?
Yeah, because but you just have to demonstrate that to them.
Absolutely.
$250 a month for someone might sound steep at first, but when you can actually break down for them everything that they're getting and how much it would cost individually, it's
perceived
like, okay,
value.
This package makes sense. You know,
perceived value. Yeah. So that's super important. So that's something that I will also do for our packages. Like it's a perceived value. Yeah. Okay, so like, hey, I'm gonna offer you free delivery. I'm gonna offer you free cake tasting. I'm gonna offer you a free consultation. I'm gonna offer you 3 free personalized designs, right? And usually that's the cost of this. It would cost us $500 to actually do this, but if we do commit in the next 24 hours, I will offer it to you for free. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. But why would I say no to that? Like you're getting so much value if you commit early, right? Like you're being rewarded to commit, right? So that's how you want to make your prospects feel. But going back to the main topic of how do you build such a wonderful offer that it makes anybody like say yes to, it sounds stupid if you said no to, is, well, one, you need, of course, once you have that down to understanding your buyer, like who you're selling to, why you're selling it, and then how to sell it, right? But an offer, I think, needs to include a lot of value, like we mentioned, right? So the quickest way you can do that, as you mentioned, is bundle a lot of value together and then perceive it as super high, and then they can see the difference and they can do the measurements themselves. They'll talk themselves into it.
I think a lot of mistakes that beginners make is they just think, oh, I need to price myself competitively with the market, but it's not necessarily about your price point. It's how do your prospects perceive what they're getting for that price point, you know?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And you can always do a lot of promotion as well. So I've seen like, hey, so we're doing this really cool offer right now where we're taking off $100 off any package that we sell. Oh my gosh, why would I not take advantage of that? Or hey, if you're ready to move forward, only this week we're doing, a free delivery. Whatever the case is, you can always tie that into whatever it is that you're actually selling to your prospect, and that makes the perception of the offer a lot higher too. And one that I will mention too, which I won't get too deep into, is like a BOGO, right? Like, oh, you buy one, you get one free.
For sure.
That, bro, that sells. It's like, oh my gosh, if I buy one meal, I get one free. Great, let me buy 3, right? Something that I do, especially like if someone is offering it, like if I'm gonna buy something and they're offering me something for free, like absolutely, why would I not buy that? So perception is super important when it comes to your offer.
Yeah, and as a business owner, it's important to not look at a promotion like a BOGO as you losing money, because essentially the goal is to bring you in more clients that get into your ecosystem and make bigger purchases later down the road.
Absolutely.
And going back into the perceived value thing, it doesn't even have to tie into just services or high ticket things. Like if two people sell t-shirts, and one promotes theirs as like 100% organic cotton, that's a unique value proposition right there alone. So it doesn't just have to be like a service where you're packaging all these different services in there. If you just have something as simple as this candle, like what makes this candle unique, and use that as an advantage,
as an anchor point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing is, we know this, you know this, I know this. Free lead magnets, bro. I think that's super important, especially for offers, right? So
not even free, but just super low ticket.
Super low ticket.
What you sell.
Exactly. But that in and of itself leads to the higher ticket sales, right? So a perfect example, I'll use your business model. Meal prep is super low ticket. Yeah. But I think that's a good magnet to people that are looking to better themselves, right? Hey, you have the nutrition down, you have the dieting down. Why don't we just get your physical health down? Let's go ahead and train. Well, if you have these aspects, you know what I'm saying?
As low ticket as meal prep is, I even have a lead magnet for meal prep, which when we first started, it would be a free meal for new clients. We kind of had some problems with that, where people would just come get a free meal and we'd never hear from them again, which I mean, I guess that's part of the process anyway. But now it's just 15% off of your first order, which is basically a meal and a half for free anyway. It's a lead magnet, right? I mean, it's a promotion.
It's a promotion, but it's also a way to reel clients in.
Yeah.
I think a lead magnet is anything that's going to reel more clients in.
For sure.
Regardless of how it does it.
Using it for an example, for the higher ticket personal training I was doing, I would do like a free workout program or a free 14-day challenge, things
free
like
meal
that.
Prep or
things like that, where they can actually get a taste of the experience of what it's like to be a client, but always leave them wanting more. Like, don't throw out so much sauce that they feel like they got all that they could get out of you. Just give them a taste of what you offer to where they feel like they got value from it. Essentially, they should feel like, yo, that was so good, I probably should have paid for that. So that's going to leave them wanting more from you. What could this guy actually do for me? If a 14-day free challenge was effective, what would months of coaching with this guy look like?
Absolutely. And another thing is, I'll give an example from my industry. So a cake tasting is a beautiful lead magnet.
Absolutely.
To selling the bigger wedding cake, right? I'm not going to drop the sauce because who knows, there may be competitors watching. Not that I care, but when you have a free lead magnet, right, they get enough, they taste enough to know that they want more. Yeah. And then now they anticipate the big day, which I think is super important. Even if it's a lower ticket, that's just a way in the door to close the deal. Yeah. And sometimes people need that, right? Because they feel more confident, especially nowadays, bro. Selling online is a lot more difficult, right? Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that scam people.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very easy to get scammed now.
I think anyone's skeptical of anything that's just online,
Exactly. So having that extra anchor of saying, hey, we're real, we're going to come in person, and we're even going to offer you value while we're there. Why not?
You know what I do, bro, in DMs, and I don't know if you do this or if you think this is stupid, but I find sending voice messages beneficial just because...
Hell yeah, bro. That saves so much time.
Well, yeah, that and the clients know that you're a real person,
Yeah,
so
100%.
I mean, I do use automation with many chats and stuff to respond to basic questions, but if there's something I actually need to answer, voice memo. Hey, this is me. I'm a real person. Let's solve this problem,
Absolutely. Yeah, so... That's perfect. If someone is on edge, right? Because sometimes you'll have you'll send the testimonials to your clients, you'll send them the Yelp, you'll send them everything, and they're still kind of hesitant. Yeah. Like, I don't really know. A voice memo, bro, or even a video. One of
Brian Mark does that. He's done that to me before. He's like, Vinny, how's your coaching business going, bro? I'm like, yo, get out of my face, bro.
Dude, that's crazy. That's funny. But no, it's true. It works.
And it's cool seeing that it's from him. I mean, this guy has like 1 million followers.
Exactly. So that's something that one of my sales trainers made me do when we were doing a photo and video. He would make me send them videos like via Instagram. Hey, Brenda, just wanted to touch base with you. The consultation went great. Everything went great. I want to make sure that, they just literally doing one-on-ones. It just feels more personal.
Absolutely.
It feels more personal and it builds your credibility. It's a stronger anchor. So... yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I wasn't weird.
No, absolutely not, bro. I think that's super cool. And that's super important, especially now in the digital age. something that we discussed even prior to us starting this podcast, bro, was you should not be doing door to door in the Big 26.
Absolutely
right?
not.
This is absolutely not. And
Waste
this is
of time.
It's a waste of time. And this is coming from someone that did door to door. I did door to door sales for not that long because I hated it. But before we get into my experience, I want to talk a little bit about the actual current process of sales. I think DMs are super important in 2026. And I think that anything that's digital is super important. So tell me a little bit about your processes. Are you more of a calls? Do you do calls? Do you do DMs? How do you get your leads in?
Well,
what do you use?
Okay.
And we can go over it because we did already talk about this in one of our first episodes.
For meal prep, it's pretty much all DMs, bro. I mean,
Beautiful.
if someone
Beautiful.
is skeptical and they really need a walkthrough of how everything works, I'll send them the number and say, hey, we're available at this time. Give us a call. Cool, no problem. I'll talk to you. But for the most part, it's literally just through the DMs. And we have our automation set up to where it answers all of people's questions before they could even come up. I mean, you still have those people that have all the information there and still ask, oh, what are the prices? Like, homie, the price is right in the message above what you just asked. But you're always going to have people like that, you know. But we try to make everything flow so smooth to, hey, could I get more information? Here's all the information you need. Can I see the menu? Boom, menu's here. Link to order. Let me know if you have any questions. A lot of the times they order with no questions asked.
Pretty straightforward.
And if they do have questions, then I'm always there to answer them. That's for the low ticket meal prep. I mean, for a $10 meal, it's not that big of a commitment, you know.
How does that change from doing personal training, online training?
Yeah, well, for personal training, you need people buy from people that they like, know, and trust. So you need to build that rapport when someone's buying. Essentially, personal training is like a relationship with the person because you are going to have a relationship with that person while you're training them. Yeah, so you have to make sure you get that client to like, know, and trust you in a very short amount of time, like from the initial DM to getting on that first sales call. And for personal training, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 sales calls to close a client. But everything's still digital from the DMs to not selling directly in the DMs, but just trying to understand the client's pain points.
But it all starts in the DMs. Though.
Either the DMs or the application. Yeah, even if they fill out the application, it's still straight to the DM. I don't call them from the application. I'll hit them in the DM, touch a little more on the pain points very briefly because I know if they submit an application, they're already very interested. So more so just be one question. Okay, let's schedule the call. Boom, call.
Perfect. Yeah, that's beautiful, and I think that anybody that's starting a business in 2026 should really, really focus on DMs. DMs digital. Don't, because like cold calling, bro, horrible.
Yeah. Well, one thing I will say about door to door, and don't go through neighborhoods knocking on doors, but one thing I do find beneficial is if there's a place where you know your ideal prospect is, like, for example, I've dropped off meal prep flyers in like dental offices, doctor's offices, police stations, people where there's busy professionals, because that's essentially where my target audience is. And bro, I have a dental office around the corner that we sell 60 meals a week at. So if like I said, don't go door to door, but if there's a place where you know there's potentially a lot of leads, then go for it.
Exactly.
Why not sell to their whole staff?
Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's super important, knowing when it's important to actually go into locations like that.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for me not to go into, per se, a dress store that only sells wedding dresses and leaving a card there. Like, that's not bad, right? Like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna come across ideal clients.
Yeah.
But you won't see me knocking door to door trying to sell cakes because, that's
you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
Absolutely, and that's a very big haystack. So the only reason I say that if you're starting a business in 2026, you should go digital is because instead of trying to look for the needle in the haystack, you're bringing the magnet to the haystack and just attracting all the needles, which is it's way better.
Yeah. Ads are beautiful.
Ads are beautiful, exactly. I was going to say that, but all of my processes are mostly through the DMs.
Yeah.
I've noticed that now that we've built up so much rapport, especially in my business, it's easier for people to trust us because they see, hey, these are all real, actual reviews that people have left for this business. Yes, I'm confident that they're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right. So, but there are still the ones that are a little bit hesitant where you have to, do the cake tasting. And usually after the cake tasting, they feel more comfortable, which is okay. You get to meet someone, you get to meet your prospect. And I also think that builds a deeper connection, like you mentioned, even not just in personal training, but if you sit down with your cake tasting clients, now you get to know them.
Yeah.
I always like to ask, especially when I'm doing the cake tasting, like, hey, what's your guys' story? How did you guys meet?
Yeah.
You know,
No, just build some rapport.
yeah, build
Why
some
not?
rapport, and
Yeah.
also know who your client is. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
we met in
even-
high school, we met in college. You know,
Yeah, even with my meal prep clients, like people I see on a week-to-week basis, even though it's just a brief interaction, like grabbing the food, try to get to know little things about your customers. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, David, how are the kids doing? Oh, he remembers that I have 2 kids. You know, those little things go a long way.
they do build rapport. They do build rapport and they build trust.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
important. Yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah, for the sake of the viewers, I know the answer to this, but do all your DMs come from ads, or do you like go out looking for prospects?
I never cold approach.
Okay.
I don't do cold approach. I think it's
Good man.
stupid. I think it's, and not just like door-to-door phone calls, but I don't even reach out. I don't do cold reach outs even for wedding cakes. Why? I just don't think it's ideal.
Because you could go to like wedding pages and hunt down all
I
their
could, bro,
people
but I
to
feel like that's
interact.
unnecessary. I
Yeah.
don't feel like that's like you're doing the hard, like you're looking for that needle in the haystack.
Yeah, you're
Just-
mowing a lawn with scissors.
no, thank you. Bring the magnet. We'll get all the needles out. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, most of my DMs do come from ads, but I do get a lot of organic leads as well.
Okay.
So people that come across our page,
Yeah.
because I post as well. Like I post pictures of our work. You know, so someone might come across one of the cakes that we made, and they're like, "This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know your rates." And for me, and I think anybody that does sales through DMs, you should have a structured system for that.
Yeah.
Okay, you should be able to almost nearly copy and paste the same exact thing to every chat
Yeah,
and make
absolutely.
it happen. Of course, everything sometimes things need to be personalized. That's normal, right? If someone asks you something about, I don't know, like, hey, do you recommend this color or that color? Yeah, don't give them a general. Oh yeah, most color. No, yeah, I would recommend this color because this pairs well with that color. You know, be personal too. But the overall structure, the meat and potatoes of the DM should look very similar for every prospect that you close. Yeah. So systems are important. DMs are important. Don't go all cold approaching. And I'm not saying that doesn't work for everything, but for majority of the things, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, especially if you're very niche.
Yeah.
Wedding cakes is very niche. Meal prep is also very niche. People that are looking to
Absolutely,
be healthy,
yeah.
like it's very niche. So it's like, I don't think you would ever go out your way to send people messages and be like, hey, do you want to buy meals?
Well, bro,
Maybe you do.
before with training, I would.
Okay.
Because
That's different.
I
Though.
didn't have as much money for ads back then, and this is kind of why I asked the question. I even want to expand on it. Like if someone's watching this right now and they're like, okay, I understand the DM process, how important it is, but how do I find people to DM? Of course, we answered the question. Ads are important, but if they don't have the funds for ads,
Well,
I'd say even just put $2 a day on ads. You're gonna get a few people to DM.
I get
but-
one or two at least.
yeah, but what would the next best thing be? And me personally, I think it's going to pages that have your ideal client and just kind of trying to find people there. There's really not going to be a perfect method. Of course, that's going to take a lot of time. But like we said before, if you don't have money, the best thing you can offer is your time. So
Yeah, so that the time investment is going to have to be there, especially if you have no funds.
Yeah.
So what I did early in the start of the cake business was, I also didn't have that type of funds to just be constantly throwing it to ads, and I also didn't have the knowledge for it.
Yeah.
Right, because believe it or not, it was kind of scary when I first started. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I was just throwing money into a blender and hoping that I would get magically good.
Yeah.
Right. So no, like it took time to learn sales, and it took time to learn the actual perfect ad that I could put in front of the clients. But I was doing not cold outreach, but I was definitely doing posts. Like for example, I used Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
I would post on our business page in different groups, right? So I would join different groups of like, events or catering events, like anything that had to do with my industry. And I would make a general post like, hey guys, we're so-and-so, we made cakes, this is what we're about. I'll share some of our work. Send us a message if you are interested or need a cake.
Yeah. Facebook is very underrated,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if you're a
Oh,
local
yeah.
business.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, free.
Take advantage of those
Free.
Facebook groups. Yeah. The
I'll say
Victor
things,
Valley News Group and everything. Get in there, promote
Get in
your
there.
stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So the worst case scenario, your post gets deleted.
Yeah.
You know, repost it.
Boo-hoo.
Repost it, or
Find the next group.
Find the next group, or find something that you need to tweak, because sometimes they'll do it because you need to tweak something.
Yeah.
But you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
If anything, you gain. There might be someone that sees that and says, "Oh, I need a cake," or
Yeah,
"I
but
need this."
I had gotten a few personal training clients from Facebook groups.
There you go, bro. Yeah. So it's super important. Yeah. So if you don't have the resources to spend on ads just now, the next big thing is to use your time and use it to not only post on free assets that you have, but also use this to learn. use this time to learn. Like if you don't have the funds, like you should be learn maxing, bro. You should be learning as much as you can about sales. So yeah, utilize the resources that you do have until you do have those resources that you can further use as leverage. I mean, we've been in the sales industry for quite some time, Vinny.
Yeah, about half a decade.
Half a decade. Tell me about your worst experience first, and then we'll end it off with your best experience. I want you give me your worst experience. I'll talk about my worst experience, and then you give me your best.
You want like one general experience or just the worst?
One that stood out to you, dude. You can talk about anything.
Does getting scammed count as a worst experience?
Yes, well, that's horrible.
Okay.
Talk about it.
We'll talk about that. All right. I have been scammed once.
Horrible.
And it could have been a lot worse. It resulted in me only losing $500, which was a lot of money to me at the time, but it could have been a lot worse if I hadn't caught what was going on. And I got banned from Chase Bank as a result of it too.
Are you still banned to this day?
Yeah, I'm banned. I can't open an account with Chase ever again.
So when?
Ever again.
Ever again. That's why.
But anyways, yeah, someone hits me on my phone number and through text and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a personal trainer for my grandkids. I'm trying to get them going for sports, this and that." Like, seemed legit. Things started to get sketchy when I was trying to get on a call with the guy. And then he was like, "I don't know how I didn't catch this, bro. I'm an idiot." But this was like my first year of doing business, and it was a very large, it would have been my biggest sale to date. So yeah, he just gave a bunch of reasons why he couldn't get on a call with me. And then even to the point where he said he doesn't have Zelle. He just said he was an older gentleman and this was for his grandchildren. So part of me was like, okay, older guy, maybe he's telling the truth.
Fuck.
Yeah, but I could go detailed for detail in this story. I'm just going to make a long story short. So we end up agreeing to the deal on electronic checks. And yeah, I even looked into it. I'm like, are electronic checks a real thing? Yes, you can actually email a check, scan it with your phone app, and deposit it. So I don't know how this guy did this. He's a brilliant scammer, so I give him his props. But I think it was like 6 checks for $500 that we did, like a $3,000 deal. But he said he could only send 500 at a time the way his bank is. So I was like, all right, fine. So I'm just taking pictures of these checks, putting them in my account. And then somehow he found a way for them to bounce back to him because it wasn't like a legit check. So the bank's going to reject them.
Yeah.
So the bank would put the money in my account for some reason. I don't know why the bank did this, and then bounce it back out immediately and send it back to him. But somehow he got some of my own money from it. I don't know how it works, bro, but I caught it and was able to contact the bank before, like, as he had only taken 500
like
instead of 3,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Strange. I don't know how he did it, but there was a whole strategy behind it, and I'm sure I'm not his only victim. But
wow.
Yeah, and then Chase Bank, they just completely shut down my account. Like, I tried to log into my Chase account and I couldn't. So I call trying to figure out what's going on, and they're like, yeah, you were caught depositing a fake check, so unfortunately we're gonna have to shut down your account. And I was pissed. I'm like, yo, that wasn't me. I got scammed. Like, I was literally on the phone with the scam department yesterday. Like, you guys should understand. They're like, oh, trust me, I understand, but like but the higher ups, like, you know, you essentially were depositing a fake check, so that's an automatic ban. Yeah, it was stupid, bro. So I just got my cashier's check for whatever was left in my account and just took it to a different bank. But yeah, that's my experience getting scammed. An old guy that was trying to train his grandchildren and couldn't get on the phone with me and didn't have Zelle.
Yeah, so that's life lesson for sure, bro.
Yeah,
have secured payment methods.
For sure. Yeah, for sure, I definitely never took a check payment again after that.
I never take checks, bro. Yeah. Zelle, Venmo.
But this was like my first year in business, and $3,000 sounded so good to me at the time. Like, so.
Not for you would say no to, huh?
Yeah.
So good you would never say no to it. That's horrible, bro. I'm sorry you went through that.
That's fine. Learning experience.
Learning experience.
Maybe if that didn't happen to me, I would have gotten scammed for more down the road if I didn't learn to keep my guard up. So
that is true.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think my worst sales experience was back when I was doing door-to-door sales. Mm-hmm. Horrible. I don't think anybody should go into door-to-door.
What were you selling?
Solar. Yeah, I was selling solar, dude. And
what made you want to try that in the first place?
Well, you know, at this time in my life, I knew that I had learned a lot about sales, right? But the type of sales that I was learning was more one-on-one calls, warm leads, you know, qualified leads. Door-to-door is a whole different ballgame because you're literally cold approaching everybody.
Yeah, and they're automatically pissed when...
Absolutely. You know, I thought about it later on down the line, and I was like, well, how many times, 1 out of 10, how many times do I open the door when there's someone at my door that I don't know? And no, I don't.
Yeah.
Like if someone's at the door and I don't know, I don't open the door unless they've been here, unless they come back like 3 or 4 times, then maybe I'll open the door.
Yeah.
But my worst experience was in solar. I was doing door to door and actually up here in the high desert, bro, which is even worse. It made my experience even worse. Maybe that's what it was, but that's not the point. And so I was out in a neighborhood that was very spaced out. The houses were extremely spaced out. They just had bigger yards, bigger fences, etc. And so I get close to one of the houses, and all I see out of the corner of my eye is a guy let a pit bull loose on me, bro. Big, huge brown pit bull.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy crap, bro, because this dog is not stopping and he's coming right at me. And the owner, he's like, get him. Right?
What the hell?
And I'm like,
wait, you didn't even go to that guy's door?
No, I didn't even make it to the door, bro.
Were you like going into his yard?
Yes, I was in his yard.
Oh, okay.
I was in his yard, and I was approaching the door.
We had like professional uniform on.
Yeah,
and everything,
I had a black tee. I had a
binder or something, right?
Yeah, I had a binder with all my information. Like I looked professional. I looked clean. So I probably got maybe 5 or 10 feet away from the door, bro, before this guy opened the door and unleashed his freaking beast on me, bro.
That's ridiculous. I thought you got to the door and talked to him, and then he got pissed and let the dog out.
No. I tried to talk to him after the fact because he needed to come out. He grabbed his dog. He grabbed his dog from the neck, from the collar, and he's like, "If you don't get the fuck out of here, I'm gonna let my dog go again, and he's gonna bite you this time." And I was like, "Bro, what are you talking about, bro? Like."
I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, I'm just doing my job. Like this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of dialogue with him there, but after that, bro, like. Yeah, it was a bad experience, bro. It was horrible.
How'd the conversation end? I'm curious.
Well, I just left, bro. Like the guy's like, and don't ever come back here again. And I was like, bro, that was actually my last day.
Yeah.
I didn't come back after that, bro. I
hung up the jersey after that one.
Yeah, bro. I was like, I'm never doing door to door ever again. And then, of course, I could get into details exactly the conversation that went down. Yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah. Okay.
But the point is. Yeah, that was terrible, bro. And that's one of the reasons why I vouch for not doing door to door, because you come across a lot of crazy people.
Yeah.
You never know whose door you're knocking on.
Your safety is at risk.
Yeah. Like you're for what, bro? For the potential of making maybe, potentially, arguably a bit more money with one sale. I'm glad I did it, and because it was a short amount of time. I only did it for 1 week.
Yeah.
But in that week, bro, I learned. So I learned that I'm never gonna do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also learned a lot about different people, approaches. I did have some good conversations with some people.
Did you close any sales?
You actually closed one.
In a week?
In 1 week.
That's horrible.
Yeah, bro, but it's solar.
Yeah.
And the thing is that deal ended up falling through because of their credit. Because they have to do a whole credit check in the solar show. They ended up doing the consultation. They ended up doing all the paperwork, but their credit failed, and so that led to them not closing the deal completely, and so that sucked.
Yeah.
Right. So like all this work to get one freaking person in the door, and then at the end you don't even close them.
So you got $0 from that.
$0. So that week I made absolutely no money, but I learned the most valuable experience that anybody could learn. I'm glad I did it. Would I do it again? Probably not.
Yeah.
Would I change anything about that outcome? No. Like I would do it again. If I had never done it, just because of the experience. I think it's important to know what you don't want, and that was a perfect example. So, yeah, anybody that's in the big solar or door to door in the big 2.6, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, bro. Like, there's different ways of making money, and I will say that after I left that, I think that's when I started making the most money in sales. Through the DM process. Yeah,
I mean, if I could give anyone advice, just think of the methods that you don't pay attention to. Like, we throw away most of our mail. Why do people still send out ads in the mail? I have no idea. We don't answer the door. We don't really pick up the phone to strangers unless we have a call scheduled already. So, don't do those things.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare you're going to get a sale with a cold approach.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's very rare. Those are the worst experiences. Tell me about a good experience or one of the best experiences you've had in sales.
Best experience in sales. Well, I mean, every close is a good experience, so I can't really think of one specific sales call that stands above the rest. But I just think getting better. Sales is something that takes a lot of reps, and you should be practicing outside of sales calls too. It's good to have someone that you could practice your sales script with.
Yeah.
We were literally practicing objections together at Chick-fil-A yesterday,
Yeah,
so I think
important.
it's good to have someone to go through the motions with. It's like playing a sport. Kobe was the best because he took 1,000 shots a day when everyone else was taking 100. So if you're putting in the work to practice and get better, then you're gonna be the best salesman.
100%.
So. Yeah, that didn't answer your question at all, but I don't really have an answer for best experience overall. Do you have one?
That I could point out, I think I would tie best to highest.
Okay.
Like outcome, like when you sell at the highest package that you possibly offer,
Yeah.
like that one package that you make that you don't expect to ever sell, and then you sell it, like that was a good experience for me.
Okay.
And that's exactly the one that I remember the most, just because I kind of made this package. So I have different structured packages, and this specific package I made it for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna
we
make a
can talk about this because that's brilliant marketing too.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm gonna make this package because I was like, why not? Like this is gonna be outrageously expensive, but it makes everything else look a lot more affordable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the only reason that I did it, bro. But when I had a client reach out and said, yeah, I want that one, I was like, this one?
This one.
You want this one? Like, yeah. What do I need? What do we need? I was like, well, this is our process. This is how to save your day, and after that, we'll be good.
Yeah.
And then they send their deposit. And I'm like,
oh, that's beautiful, bro.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
But I love tier systems. I'm a big believer in tier systems, and the way you structure your tier systems, it shouldn't just be like $100, $200, $300. It shouldn't be a linear tier system. You need to set up your tier system in a way to where the package you want to sell the most visually makes the most sense to someone looking at it. It's like at a movie theater, like the small popcorn, say, is $3. Medium is $6, large is $7. People are going to buy the large because they see the gap between small and medium, but the gap between large and medium is only $1, so I'm just going to buy the large.
Might as well get it.
You're going to sell the large more than anything.
100%.
But and I do this too. Like I have a personal training package that's outrageous. It's like $500 a month, and I just have that there because if someone buys it, great. I'll gladly do everything that's included for them there on that list. But it makes the standard offer look a lot more affordable.
Affordable.
And you're still getting good value with the standard offer
at
$250 compared to $500. When the lowest tier package is maybe $190 or so. So
yeah, it's a good way to shift perception.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's the highest package. Oh my gosh, that's outside of what we're looking to spend. But these look a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah,
let's stick to these. So you end up getting a sale regardless. And that's the only reason I did it to begin with. Yeah.
And I think downselling is very important too. Maybe not in your industry because yours,
absolutely.
Because yours requires. Don't ever put yourself at a loss or an inconvenience, but. If someone comes in and you're trying to sell them the $1,000 package, don't let them leave without at least getting them to get something $500. Being on the phone for consultation calls for personal training clients. If they can't afford a full coaching program that's $200 a month, I understand. But we took the time to do this sales call. Let me at least write you a one-time written workout plan for $80 or something, just so I get something out of the call. It doesn't hurt. Unless you're in unless you're in an industry that requires a lot of materials to offer what you're going to offer. Like I said, don't lose money. But for me, it takes me maybe an hour to write a workout plan. So why not make $80 from the call instead of $0?
Yeah. No. So I would shift the downsell to also, for example, let's say you recommend this package to this client because that's what best fits their needs, but they're financially not there. Right? Like, well, I would love this package, but I'm not necessarily, I don't have the funds for that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a problem. Always offer them an alternative, right? Like you said. So, okay, well, this offer is $1,000. Maybe it doesn't work out for you. What if we were able to come to another package that maybe is at $750, right? $750, you'll still get the same servings. It might be a little bit smaller in size, whatever the case is. You can tweak the numbers. But you downsell that way, right? And you still have them walk away with a package. Not the full exclusive one, but it's still a package. And one of the best ways that I've seen this be applied. So there used to be this TV show. It's a Homer Fixer Upper. I think that's what it was called. But it was a wife and a husband that would work together. The husband was a real estate agent, and he would have a certain budget that he would have to work around with the family, right? And then the fixer-upper house would also have a budget. But the point was the realtor, the guy, he would go and find them the perfect house. Right? They had everything they were looking for: the mirrors, the windows, beautiful backyard, the garage, but it was outrageously out of their price. Yeah. So let's say their budget was 500,000. That house was at $1 million. You know, just for the sake of the example. And they're like, well, Joe, you know, that's out of our price range. All right, well, let's go now look at the houses that we can afford with the budget that we have. Yeah. And then he would go a little bit down. Maybe he didn't have everything that they wanted, but, you know, it would set the tone. So that way when he would go maybe 50,000 over, 100,000 over, it wasn't as bad as going 500,000 over the price. So like, oh, it's only 100,000. That's not too bad. True. You know, as opposed to 500. Yeah.
And having
perceived value.
Yeah, having things that you can remove from your offer too, like a puzzle, is very important too. Yeah. Like this year, I bought my first truck. You were there when I bought the truck, and the truck includes these add-ons in the sticker price, like the dash cam, and I forget what else it had, but it had a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff included in the sticker price that's removable that isn't necessarily necessary. Like I could get a dash cam on Amazon for like $50 instead of getting the $400 one that comes with the truck.
Which is also from Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's good on the dealership's end though, because, you know, if the client opts in to buy all those things, good, you just sold them everything and made extra money. But if the client wants to negotiate the price a little bit, it's not lose money on the truck completely. It's let's take off these add-ons.
Yeah. So that's super important.
Super important, yeah. And beautiful. That's kind of, I think, what we're both getting at with our businesses as well.
Yes. All right, bro. So, I mean, sales, that's based on our experience, what we notice, what works for us. Of course, everybody's going to have a different approach. And I think it's important to kind of take whatever you can from every person that knows sales and apply it in your own way. But who do you listen to when it comes to sales? Who do you look up to? Are there anybody that you look at their videos all the time? Just give me some people that you would also recommend to other people to look into. Yeah.
Well, I think for both of us, the backbone of our businesses were built off of Alex Hormozi's information.
Alex Hormozi.
But when it comes to straight sales psychology, my favorite guy to watch is Jeremy Miner. That guy's a monster, bro. Like, tone is a big thing with him. His tonality is phenomenal. Like just the way he asks questions, he's like, oh, well, why do you think that? Like he just changes the tone of his voice, his facial expressions, and it's phenomenal. Like master of psychology there for sure. A few other guys, I really like Brian Mark, and he has beef. He has beef with Jeremy Miner. So,
are you serious?
Yeah, it's cool to see too.
Why?
I don't know. It's cool to see two opposing perspectives though, because not one person's tactic is going to work for everyone. Especially, it's good to look up to people who have a similar personality as you. I feel like Jeremy Miner is super laid back, and so am I. So, and there's other salesmen that are out there that are kind of more in your face, whose approach I probably wouldn't take, you know?
Yeah, so there's different styles?
Yeah, there's different styles. Like earlier when I talked about the DM process to the sales call my business coach gave me, like I think that guy is great at building systems. I don't think he's that great at sales. So just because someone's successful doesn't mean that their method's going to work for you, you know?
True. So just kind of puzzle it out, take what you can from each person that you encounter.
Yeah, so if you have a laid back personality like me, I would 100% recommend Jeremy Miner.
Perfect, bro. So two people that I look up to, especially in social media because they post reels all the time. Yeah. Is Daniel G. This guy's an absolute animal, bro. I think his approach, he's a lot more energetic. Yeah. Okay. And his approach is, he talks a lot about energy and how you have to be aligned with, you know, what you actually sell. Like he talks more about the spirituality side of it, and the energy side of it. I think it's super cool. And then Tristan Speckler. Speckler. That's his name. Bro, that guy's a fucking animal, bro. His tonality and the way that he takes sales calls is extreme, and it's insane. Like the fact that he's like, and where do you think that idea comes from? Like he'll literally sit there with the client, bro, make them feel uncomfortable on purpose to get to the point, to the root of the issue, right? But he's really good because he has a business that generates over 1 million per month. So it's like, bro, this guy knows what he's doing. So just two people that I look up to. Alex Hormozi is a big one as well. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of books that talk about sales. Yeah, for sure. The psychology of sales. And yeah, bro, that's what I would recommend.
So on a lighter note, before we wrap things up, we just talked about business content we consume. Do you consume any content that's not business related?
Yeah, bro, absolutely. I mean, I think now it's less less than I used to before.
Yeah.
But of course, bro, like I'm a human being,
Yeah.
like I'll consume like vlogs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Sometimes specifically around cars.
Yeah.
Like driving and stuff like that, just because I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the different specs and the different motors that people can come across and build.
Yeah.
There'd be some crazy builds or like races between cars. I really like that. Outside of that, no, not really. Like I won't sit there and watch streams. That's not really my thing. But yeah, just anything that I find interesting. Yeah, which would be that. What about you? What do you watch?
I would say it's mostly short form stuff, if anything now, bro.
That's
all I really have time for. Like I'm not one to sit down and watch a show or even a movie unless it's something I really want to see. Like I could probably count on one hand the number of movies I've seen in the past year. So,
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not much. I'm still I like sports. Like I like the idea of watching phenomenal athletes compete, but instead of watching a full game, I'll just check the score and watch the highlights after. But yeah,
Save a little bit of time.
Yeah, other than that, I don't consume much media outside of stuff that's beneficial to my future. Fair enough. Of course I think every human is guilty of getting caught on TikTok or Instagram Reels a little longer than they would want to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is what it is. That's the new content.
Yeah, I don't necessarily go out of my way to consume anything that's not beneficial. So
good, bro.
Yeah, my form of mental reset is what we've already talked about in previous videos. So
fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Hell yeah, bro. Well, I think that wraps it up, bro. I think that's a beautiful episode.
Yeah.
I think we gave kind of meat potatoes of what sales is.
Yeah.
Honestly, if anybody made it this far, if you have any questions regarding sales, feel free to reach out to me or Vinny. Like I'm more than happy to answer your questions. You can cut this out if you don't want it on there, but I'm going to say it. So we had someone reach out to us saying that the content that we make is actually helping them. That's beneficial for their business. And that is a huge motivator for us, because if we can make an impact in even one person, bro, I think that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely. Just hearing that means a lot, because this podcast essentially is just to help people that were once in our position when we just started off, So just hearing that it's impacted even one person makes it all worth it.
Yeah, 100%. So again, if you have any questions or you feel like there's something that we didn't cover that you want to kind of go into a little bit more, or you were left with questions about anything regarding the sales that we shared today, feel free to reach out. You can find us on Instagram.
Down in the description.
Down in the description, and then just reach out or leave a comment. I'm more than happy to answer there.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
See you next week.